All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Greetings from the Garden State. I'm your host, Mike Ham. We are here in Asbury Park today. And before we get to our guests, we have a co-host, which we normally don't do. So we have Julia Purpura. Julia, welcome to the show.
Big moment.
Big moment. So you are our, what's your title?
I am VP of Business Development, which we're figuring out day by day what that means.
Yeah. So like when we had Tara co-host with me back when we were doing the Somerset Patriots game.
Yes.
She has some title. I even forget what that is.
Yeah.
Content
creation,
development,
sure,
whatever.
But as long as I'm a VP, that's all I care about.
Yeah, right. It's a good resume builder
Yeah.
For what we do. So do you want to introduce our guest today? Because
Yes.
the only reason why we're here is because you introduced me to him.
Sure. So let me paint a little visual, a little bit of where we are, where this place is.
Yeah.
So within Asbury Park, there's Cookman Avenue, which is the main street downtown. And it's kind of like the nucleus of the town, and everything spreads off of that. So Mattison Avenue, which happens to be where I also live, not really part of the fact, but anyways. So when you're walking down the street, you're approaching a little bit, and you can hear some Italian music playing, some striped awnings, and you're kind of entering like a different zone of the block. And that's where Amici Gelato is. And Joey here today is part of the ownership within Amici and has an incredible story to share just how it came to, how he's become who he is as well. So Joey, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
It's great to have you. So, like, when I came down here the last time, there was 2 spots. I won't even say what the other spot is because we're going to get to them eventually. But, you were obviously one of the other ones. We met for a hot second, and then I had to take a phone call because just a really important guy. But I'm super stoked that we're down here just because, like, this part of Asbury Park, we've done one other episode down here. We did the distillery back in, like, March.
Nice.
But, like, this is why I like coming to Asbury, especially, like, in the off-season and stuff like that, because this is, like, an actual town.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and you guys are kind of like right in it, so I'm just really pumped. But before we get to Amici and all that kind of stuff, I do want to learn more about you because we literally just asked each other's names before we even started this show.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously I've done ample research, but I haven't, actually.
That's okay. I live this place every single day, so you didn't need to do your research.
Yeah. So I will be leaning on you most of this episode.
You got it.
So take me through maybe like how long you've been here at Amici. First we have to ask, are you born and raised in Jersey?
No, I'm not.
All right, show's over.
Yeah.
Where are you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Staten Island, New York.
Okay. All right, so you made a wise choice.
They think they're in New Jersey,
I
you know,
did.
so.
No,
Yeah.
we do not.
They're just like a breed unto their own.
Joey needs to
Yes.
protect them. No, we don't.
No. It's just when you are living there. There's a picture about Jersey that it's definitely true. Well, everybody just thinks it's just so much different, and it is.
And better.
And we don't. I say we, but I've been living here, and I call this home now. So,
Right.
yeah.
So how long have you been in Jersey overall?
4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And the whole time down here in Asbury Park, or
3 years or maybe 2 years here in Asbury Park, right down the block.
Okay.
And then the last 2 in Eatontown.
okay,
Yeah.
cool,
I got an apartment in Eatontown.
awesome. And then, so how long have you been? I think you said before we started talking, before we started the interview, that you were like always kind of involved here at Amici.
Yes.
But maybe not as like
Sure.
full dive as you are right now.
Yeah, so to paint a picture, when I first started working here, my dad opened the store with his best friend, and my sister and I, his kid, all the family kids kind of just treated it like the shore store.
Yeah.
Like we put our hours in and then shut the doors and went out partying. And, along the way, things got serious for certain people, other people it didn't. And, COVID was a really, when things first locked down, things were very, very serious, and that's when, like, the joke was over.
Yeah.
And that's actually when I really moved into my position in the kitchen.
Right.
Yeah. And in the beginning, I was just serving coffees and scooping, and now I run the whole kitchen.
Yeah. And that must have been a big transition from maybe like not being just kind of like dabbling in it and then now you're just like full boat, just full steam ahead, going for it.
Full steam ahead.
Yeah.
There's like a hierarchy within there, which I realize. It's like some people can make the coffee, then some people can do more of the other tricks of the trade, and the kitchen is like the ultimate reach of where you can help out.
Yeah, it's totally true.
Yeah.
And it's really sacred to me working there and just working in general now.
Yeah.
Just taking pride in my work. It's really, really special.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why is that?
Well,
It's a very broad question.
no, it's actually a great question. I started off, so when I was young, when I was like 18, 19, I was working a sales job, and I wasn't really proud of myself. It wasn't like work that I was proud of, but I was making a ton of money. And I kind of went home and just didn't feel good about myself. So like I know how it feels to like make a lot of money and not be proud of the product you're selling
Yeah.
or really anything about it, because it's hard to separate.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
You say it's business, it's not personal, but it's really very personal.
Yeah, right. Because I mean that seeps basically into like every aspect of your day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like when you go home, even though you're done with work, you're still working.
Yeah.
You know, and like sales is like a different kind of thing. It's like I'm in sales, my actual job, and it just kind of like it's a little bit different hours. And obviously, like being in the food business is obviously different hours too. But at the same time, it's like you're always trying to think like, am I gonna make my quota this year? Am I gonna like do this year? Whatever it is.
Yeah, you always want to. So it's difficult to be content. I mean, you always want more. You always want to do better and expand and grow. In a healthy way, not too fast, but also not miss anything on the table.
Right.
Yeah, and then that's hard to not to take personal too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's never enough. I mean, you're constantly trying to feed something, and then you don't feed yourself. I mean, sometimes you don't eat a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah,
So.
I have no problem with that, as you can clearly tell. I'm eating just fine. And so what I think is interesting too is kind of like, at what point, so when you're 18, 19 years old, you have this sales job, and you say you're making a lot of money, and still kind of at the same time still dabbling here, or not at all?
No, this wasn't really a thought yet.
How old are you right now?
So I turned 27 yesterday.
Okay. Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have wished you happy birthday yesterday when we were
That's
talking about
cool.
setting this thing up. I didn't even know, but
It's cooler on camera.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Okay, so 27. So that's 10, 9-year window, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yes.
And then so this place not even on your radar when you have this sales job. And then was there like a moment during this sales job where you're not happy with yourself and what you're doing, where you're just like, I need to do something different? Or were there other things happening that we're trying to like, fill the void, I guess?
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. So yeah, it became to a point where I was bringing in. I started my own company and incorporated so that I could do all the sales. I was doing all the work anyway, so I figured I could take all the profit. Open up an office and employ people to do, delegate out the work and create a system so that we could all make money together. I mean, running a business is like a really beautiful thing. It's really like you have so much freedom and power, and you're able to, employ people, and I always liked that aspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was making a lot of money. I dropped out of college, and I developed a really bad drug addiction. Yeah, it was really bad. And yeah, so it was very, very black and white to me. Doing a job that I wasn't proud of to make money to feed something that I wasn't. It became really black and white. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it almost seems just like you were making all this money and just like didn't really know what to do with yourself because you just felt
100%.
empty.
Yeah.
It was like, well, I'll do this, and then it just kind of kept like feeding itself, and it just turned into this cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so like, take me through that, because obviously, we were talking a little bit off mic before we got started, just to make sure like you're comfortable in this level
totally.
of talking about this, and take me through maybe like the extent of it. Obviously, like the
Sure.
maybe not have to go like as gory.
I can go
detail
as gory as you like.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's-
how does it pivot into like eventually the end?
Yeah, right.
The end
Yeah.
Okay.
story of
Yeah,
not
to
end
take me through
story,
maybe
but
like
to Amici.
Right, not like you don't have to take me through the entire thing,
Sure.
from start to finish, but
Yeah, okay.
certain
I'll-
moments that were just kind of like, oh shit, I can't do this anymore?
Yeah. Okay. So I tried to fix everything on my own for a long time, and I couldn't. I was really just that miserable person, just kind of taking and taking from the world, and just didn't know really if there was any way out. I really didn't see a way out. I didn't think I'd be alive today. It was like, so I checked myself into rehab when I was about 20 for the first time, and I left after 14 days. And then things got much worse. I was still living in Staten Island. And then, so this is how everything ties in.
Yeah.
The second time I checked in, things got very bad. And I completed my stay, and it was a very powerful stay. And
How long is a completed stay?
so it was 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah, which is on the shorter end for that type of care.
Sure.
But it was enough to get me back on my feet and to see a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel.
And all this time, do you still have your business?
So at this time, I lost it.
Okay.
I completely drained every dollar from it and wasted every single dollar of it. And at this time, I built up way more debt than anything.
Yeah.
And fast forward, after I completed this stay, I was actually dropped off down the corner from here. My dad lives in one of these apartments over here, and he had this idea of a gelato shop, an Italian dessert store. He's run businesses before, restaurants, and I was expected to work here to keep busy. He was holding my paychecks. I mean, it was. I embarrassed myself a lot here when I first came in here, and I was just kind of just trying not to be the reason that this place closed down when it did in my head.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to be blamed for everything.
Right.
Because like I didn't see a vision here.
Yeah. You just like beat the shit out of yourself for so long. You know what I mean?
I mean, I did a lot of embarrassing stuff here, and a lot of customers that still come here today saw those things.
Yeah.
And really gave me another chance and watched me grow and really supported me. It was really a beautiful thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. Like I have known you now for maybe 6 months, and like I only know like this Joey, and it's just incredible to hear this piece of the story, to like see how far you've come today and Amici.
It's hard for people to picture.
And so, like, at what point now? Like, I know that this is probably like a process for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, was there a moment? Like, that's like what Jules just said. She's known you for the last 6 months. I've known you for the last, like, 24 hours. Well, technically since Thursday.
Yeah.
But we didn't know each other's names, so I don't know if that counts. So I think, like, seeing you now, like, you don't even realize that. But like I said, I would imagine that it's like a process that you kind of have to continuously go through.
Yeah.
But
every day.
Was there a moment where you tried, like, you started getting the ball rolling on, like Jules said, this Joey?
Yes. So there's a lot of critical points that I refer like as turning points, crossroads. So I went to the closest meeting nearby in the area, and Asbury Park is a big LGBT based community.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, this is like it's the ambiance. I like it.
Yes, this is exactly the music I was talking about.
So, like, we're sitting out here, and like this, I would imagine if I were to ever go to Italy and sit outside a cafe, like I
It's
would get
literally like this,
vibe.
especially with this chairs. Our chairs are all facing the street right now, and that's how all the chairs are in
Right.
Europe, but just
Yeah.
people
Recording
watching.
episodes outside because like everyone also stares at us when they go by.
Yeah.
Or walks right in front of the camera. Like I did just now. But sorry to cut that off. So
No, it's okay.
Yeah. Where were we? The moment that everything started.
Oh,
turning around,
okay.
Now we're at this
yes,
Joey now.
yes. So this is a very big LGBT based community
Right.
with a very big gay community, and I'm straight, and so I went to a meeting, the closest one, because I was not in a position to pick, and that was the themed. It's an LGBT safe meeting, right? So I was very nervous when I walked in, and I left with tons of men telling me they loved me and they cared about me, which was so new to me. They took me down to the beach. We we all went skinny dipping. Yeah.
Okay.
They showed me like love, like as
Yeah.
like a man,
Yeah.
and I wasn't used to that. I'm not used to telling men that I love them.
Right.
And, you know, it's
Yeah.
I learned that here in Asbury Park.
Yeah.
And that was a very big turning point for me, just to feel just more comfortable,
Yeah.
just as a human being. Yeah.
That's crazy. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, like, we're gonna get into the community stuff a little bit later, but I think
Sure.
that you know, like, if there's ever like a community supporting someone of like that's part of their community, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Right there. And
That
that's
was
like the
it.
best example we've ever had, like, probably on this show, of like a community and like a business kind of like coexisting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not even driving and it's just making all this noise.
Yeah, those refrigerators make a lot of
Yeah.
noise, and
Yeah.
freezers.
Yeah, but sorry. So yeah, so community. That's a great example
Yeah.
of that for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it just it really meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
I really felt like this community stood behind me.
Yeah.
I mean, between the customers, people, I mean, you know, even the police department, they treated me with grace.
Yeah.
You know, hold on.
It's like the best moments of this story.
I know.
The trucks are driving right by. Sons of bitches.
Rude.
But yeah,
So
the police department, who you know, I don't want to get any gray area, but
Right.
they treated me with grace and literally saved my life twice
Yeah.
in this town. So I mean, a lot of them stopped by and bought coffees and just to see my face, make sure I wasn't, you know, doing bad, or it was a lot of people who I could tell just came in just to see my face and make sure I was doing all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I love that. So I do. You had something?
I was just gonna say, and I'm sure this place gives you the structure that you probably welcome to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna ask though, and I just because I'm curious. So I know, like you said before, like you had embarrassing moments and terrible moments.
You want to hear
in
about
this-
some of them?
No, I mean, I was gonna ask.
Some of the stuff that makes you cringe? Yeah. Well,
But what I was gonna say was, like, you know, now this seems like the place that kind of like a good support base for
yeah.
you.
And that's not by accident.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
But to me, it just seems like a interesting kind of like position, because it was a place that could be hurtful in in your past, but
Yes.
now it's such a positive place, I would imagine, for you,
And safe haven.
and a safe
Very,
haven.
yeah.
And so I guess, like, it was maybe after that meeting, like, that was when that tide started to turn.
Huge turning point. Yeah. Yes, definitely. I got every week going back there and just seeing everybody's faces. Just a big part of this is giving back. We can fast forward a little farther. Maybe a year or two later, we had the quarantine, and things just got locked down.
Yeah.
And so I went to that exact meeting, actually, and I said to everybody, my head chef, who made all the gelato at the time, is leaving, and the world is locking down, and I'm terrified because I'm going to have to do the front of the house, back of the house work, and I'm not sure if we're legally allowed to open, if we're essential, or if...
Gelato is essential.
It very much
Just
is.
to be clear.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I left that meeting with maybe 3 or 4 employees saying, whatever you need, I'll help.
Right.
And these are people that were having trouble taking care of themselves. So it was a big turning point. These guys started to look up to me, and I had to, everything, so financial literacy is something you have to learn, relearn.
I have to relearn it myself.
I had to just learn it.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I ever
Must be
actually
nice
did.
to just relearn.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
When you say financial literacy, do you mean in general or just learning financial literacy as like a business person?
Both.
Okay.
Both. When I first started working and getting my life back together,
Okay.
I had to ask my dad to hold my paychecks
I
for the
see.
first year because I would spend the money on things that didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And just to have somebody to account for my money at the time was really big.
Yeah.
And then to start to order supplies, how much is too much? Payroll, how much is too much? All those things. They all add up. They're all it's capital at the end of the day. If you spend it, then you can't use it, and it's difficult to learn all those things and what to do, and just what kind of attitude should you have at what times.
Right.
You know, things might be slowing down. Do you spend more? You know, it's a lot of things. I ask a lot of the mentors in my life. I ask a lot of people for a lot of different advice based on who they are, and I just kind of take what I could get.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so I think we should take our first break. We went a little long, but I think that was important to go long because it's obviously...
You could just clip it up.
I'm not going to clip anything. I thought that was great. Did you think it was great?
I think it was great.
Yeah, so we're just going to keep it.
Cool.
But we are going to take our first break of this episode, and then we're going to get into what Amici actually is, because we've, like, danced around it a little bit. We've tickled it, but... we haven't really gotten in there. It is gelato, but we're going to get into more of like what you guys do back here. But so this is the Ingredients from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Cam. We got Jules Purpura, Joe Castore.
Yes.
Okay, I was really nervous to say that because I forgot. We're at Amici Gelato Caffe in Asbury Park, New Jersey. We'll be right back.
My name is Chris, founder of FLK Method, where being fit does not feel out of reach. In fact, you're going to have fun when you show up for class. FLK also offers access to a supportive community, monthly partner challenges, and instructors who care. Not to mention our amazing in-person events, more than 20 styles of workouts, and on-demand channels designed specifically for your goals. Head to fitlikechrys.com, that's FITLIKEKRYS.com to learn more or to get started for just $25. Give yourself a chance to feel your best because that is exactly what you deserve.
All right, welcome back to segment 2 of this episode of Greetings from the Garden State. I'm Mike Cam. We are here at Amici Gelato Caffe in Asbury Park, New Jersey with Joe Castore and my co-host Jules Purpura. So we talked about your background and your story, which I think is tremendous, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And so now that we've kind of gotten ourselves all the way to your time here at Amici, where like Jules said before, like this Joey at Amici, can we talk about like what Amici actually is?
Yeah, so we're primarily a gelato cafe.
Okay.
I'm looking to bring the Italian gelato experience to Asbury Park.
Awesome.
That's my mission.
Is gelato the only thing that you offer here?
No, absolutely not. We have great espresso and a ton of baked goods, some good cannolis.
I love cannolis.
Yeah.
Don't forget the tartufo. I'm a sucker for the tartufo.
Yes.
You got a coffee?
Again, I got a coffee.
Yeah.
Yes, this is my 3 p.m. spot.
Nice. Everyone needs that spot. Go ahead, Jules, please.
Well, so there's other gelato places, obviously, in Asbury. What is it about Amici that is different, and your process also behind the gelato that you do serve?
Sure. Well, I pasteurize my gelato, which takes an extra, a little extra step. It's for safety and health, and also to blend all the ingredients.
So it helps with flavor, too?
Yes.
Is that something that's not normally done?
In Italy, traditionally, they would not pasteurize it, and it's it's milk and sugar, grain, and just, you know, but there's tons of ways to do it. So gelato is just the Italian word for ice cream.
Okay.
So they use whole milk primarily instead of cream, so it's much lower in fat. There's no crystallization in between all the little, in between all the gelato.
So it's healthy, is what you're trying to tell me.
And it's science. Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
scientifically healthy.
Yeah.
I'd say it's more mathematically. Yeah, but yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, mathematically.
In my
I'll take
head,
it.
it's math.
Right.
It's dumb.
See, I can't make gelato, so I don't know. Yeah, I can't do math either, but that's another story.
You know, I didn't think I could either, but you got to see the type of algebra that I'm doing when it comes to gelato and the
gelato
math.
algebra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the financial literacy I need,
Right.
gelato algebra.
Yeah.
That I can understand.
So we use the best ingredients possible. I source everything from Italy. There's no punches. There's no food dye. No corn syrup. No, just the basics and the best that I could possibly do into everything that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must be crazy too, like, because we had, so when this airs, a few weeks prior, we will have someone that imports cheeses and pastas and olive oils and stuff from Italy, and it's from like her family's farm in like this small town. But like it's, you know, especially over the last couple of years with like costs of literally everything going up, particularly like shipping and all that.
Yeah.
And obviously that I'm sure comes into play quite a bit too with what you're doing right now, financial literacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The labor force got really messed up in Italy. Italy got hit first
Right.
during COVID, if everybody remembers.
Yep.
And it was shipping everything from there, making sure all the money is going in and out so that everybody could feed everybody. It all got, you know, it all took its hit.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so I think at the process of the gelato, we pasteurize it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what are you doing every morning when I walk past here? You're behind the glass window of Amici. And
Right
you're,
where we are? Right here?
Yes, right here. And it's kind of a show, honestly. But you're either rolling things, you're putting flames to things. So what is the magician work and sorcery that's happening behind that window?
So the secret to everything that I'm doing is
Well, be careful with how many secrets you
Yeah, no, it's
Next
just
thing you know, there'll be gelato places popping up all over just because so many people listen to this show.
it's just don't cut those corners
Yeah.
in any way. Do everything the right way. You know, the process is very important as long as you're buying the best ingredients. Yeah, it's really important to do everything. I do a lot of small batches. Nothing sits for more than a week, and I mean it's ice cream, so
Right.
it lasts.
Yeah.
But I want to give that smooth, creamy experience. It's the fresh gelato, so you can compare gelato to a baked good, whereas it has a shelf life, and it might not go bad, but it's definitely
Just not
not
gonna be
as
as
not
good.
as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so when you're making these small batches, are you like experimenting with different flavors, like that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a few different influences in my head. One is from a man from Italy who taught me everything that I do.
Okay.
His take was from Milan, and I have his ideas in my head, and then I also have a lot of the things that I grew up with, a lot of the childhood desserts. I was a big foodie. I love cookies and ice cream, and I always loved that stuff. So I have a childhood passion for a lot of this stuff. My grandparents used to get the 7-layer cookies from Brooklyn,
Of course.
you know, every Sunday.
Yep.
And it's a really fun experience, especially to go to a restaurant and to go over to the dessert case as a kid and look at and point out what you like, and to visually see everything and to make that decision. It's really exciting not just as a kid. Everybody loves it.
Yeah. Even like when I go to like bakeries and stuff like that, like the pastry counter, you're just like, oh my god, like everything looks so good.
Yeah.
You don't even know what to get.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, to that point then, like the innovation behind the flavors that you're doing, how you're changing things up seasonally, what goes into all of that, just so when people are coming in here, they're not getting the same thing or
Right.
seeing the same menu every time.
So there's those things that you just can't open an ice cream shop and not have like sprinkles or something. Like
Sure.
I listened to the last podcast.
Yeah.
A nice woman said that, and it's
Yeah.
true. And I also didn't have sprinkles for a while because I don't like food coloring.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
It goes against like everything you do
yes,
in there.
yeah. So there's there are staples in my store. Okay. There are staples in my store. There's when you walk into an Italian gelato shop, you're expected to see stracciatella, vanilla, pistachio, hazelnut, dark chocolate.
It's like the core
Those are the
flavors.
core flavors that
Right.
we always have. We always put out. From there, I always like to keep 2 non-dairy flavors, 2 dietary differences for people.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
Right. That's me.
Yeah, I like,
You're special.
I can't
Dogs,
do it.
dairy.
I know, I got a lot of issues.
Yeah, interviews, seeing eye dogs, and gelato
Right.
places.
Yeah.
we want everybody to love the experience while also not straying too far from our core. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. What are some of your favorites here?
Tartufo is number one, even though that's not the direct gelato. But
No,
I
yeah, I just mean just in general.
This is the thing. When I go to a gelato place, I'll sample things, and I always end up getting the stracciatelle. I am guilty of always doing that. So that is my favorite. What's the one? I forget the name of it.
That was good multitasking, by the way.
I'm always multitasking, man. I can't.
Joe's got his father in his ear right now, which we have to give a moment to Ralph too in this as well.
Just give me a sec to lower my blood pressure for a minute, as if you didn't see those cameras and microphones.
Well, I think the camera's far enough away.
That's good. Ralph's the exception to all.
That's right.
Ralph's always the exception. But yeah, the strawberry tartufo is my favorite, and then I'm just a loyal. I don't go outside the grain with gelato. I always get the stracciatelle.
What is stracciatelle?
It's the classic chocolate chip flavor.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just fancy.
Yeah, it sounds fancy.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna. I thought it was gonna be something like really.
No.
So that's the beauty about Italian cooking. It's the simplicity behind it.
Right.
You know, it's the sweet milk gelato, sweetened milk, and the pure dark chocolate shards that harden up. And the clash between those little flavors, I believe it was one of the first flavors to be made, and it's just that flavor that I always go back to, too.
Yeah.
I always try all the flavors and end up with stracciatella.
Was there ever a flavor that you were just experimenting with stuff, and you're just like, this is just a shot in the dark?
What's that fruit one that you always sample?
I make a lot of fruit ones. So here,
Whittle it down.
I have this voice in my head from the man who taught me, Emiliano. Shout out to Emiliano. He has a restaurant.
listens.
I'll plug him real quick. He has a restaurant
We've got Italian reach.
in
We are
Keensburg.
huge in Slovenia. Fun fact: we're consistently pretty much top 50 places to travel in Slovenia.
That is
which
wild.
Nice.
A wild stat. But
Yeah.
I get an email once a week. We're like, oh, you made number 34 in Slovenia. So shout out
Nice.
them.
So
But that's
we're doing a business trip to Slovenia, is what you're saying.
Yeah, right. We're gonna have to do a whole Slovenian tour.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Never been.
So anyway, Emiliano told me that you have to make sure to make flavors that you don't personally like. Personally, I hate mint chip.
Okay.
And if you're a fan of Amici, I'm sorry, I haven't had that flavor out in maybe 2-3 years now since I've taken over the kitchen. But I need to think about, the people that, like flavors that I don't. So I try and, mix it up as much as I can.
Right. So, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what are some of the seasonal flavors you have right now?
Right now.
Like limited
So
edition.
just
Mango.
so everyone knows, we are recording this in August.
Yes.
And so this, I think, will post in October.
So what are some of the fall
Awesome.
ones that you do?
Ooh, everybody loves the fall stuff.
Let me
Okay.
guess, pumpkin is
We're-
like a
Our
bestseller.
pumpkin spice
There you
gelato
go.
is a big one.
Yeah.
Something I'm very excited for is I'm looking to collaborate with local New Jersey businesses who make donuts, apple cider donuts, and
Love that.
I want to make a base of gelato, and they're going to give me the donuts, and we just mash them up and throw them in and give them a little name tag of where the donuts are from.
Yeah.
We have a lot of cool stuff, pumpkin spice lattes and apple pie, and
That sounds good.
I love fall with the spices and yeah, really. And as the summer comes to an end and the weather gets a little colder, I get to bake a lot more, make more cookies,
Yeah.
and
that's like your jam. Well, sort of.
I love it
You got a lot
all,
of
man.
jams.
I love it all.
Cookies are crack.
The
His cookies are
s'mores. Funny
Yeah.
you should say that. I love the s'mores cookies.
Okay, so this leads me to my next question for you of we're in a shore town, so it's very
Yes.
seasonal. Summer is heavy. You have local summer, the fall shore, shore SURE, not SHORE. How do you continue to drive traffic to Amici when it's a colder season and people are craving the gelato
Great
a little
question.
bit less?
Yeah, so I make sure that the case is full of gelato, and I will begin to bake more. So there's more cookies, more cakes, more varieties of cookies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that I had to shorten up with for the summer to kind of streamline the entire process.
Mm-hmm.
But I love there's so many different cookies that I would love to make that people ask for all the time that I'm not able to. Then there's also cannoli cream, tiramisu cream. We make key lime pie, chocolate mousses. We make
I love key lime pie.
a lot of great stuff. And depending on the season is just really when I get to make those different flavors.
Yeah. Does it also, just because I know, my experience, North Jersey, when at Christmas time, all that stuff rolls around, Italian places are packed to the gills with people getting that kind of stuff that you're talking about.
Yes.
So I'd imagine eventually when you get to that point of the year too, that's another big time. Granted, it's like a flurry of couple days, but
Yes.
still.
The holidays. It's if you notice, most of the holidays will be open early in the morning till about the afternoon, close around 5 p.m. For pickups, last minute buys, and then we all head to our families' houses too.
Yeah.
And you do orders too, like people pick up cakes and baked goods and
yeah.
things like that to bring to their holiday
Some like
parties
custom
and
action
whatnot.
in here.
A lot of custom gelato cakes.
Oh,
I never thought that I would be a cake decorator.
Yeah.
But I actually
you are.
I love enjoying making cakes. Yeah, gelato cakes
That's
of all
awesome.
different kinds.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any more questions, Jules?
Well, so Ralph, your father, is involved with Amici too. So how much has like seeing him grow up in the food industry and whatnot, like, is he involved in kind of the decision making on what you're making, or have you kind of taken full ownership of like, this is what I want to make our seasonal things be? Like, what's Ralph's involvement and also the history of seeing him in the food industry help to influence you?
Yeah, so it's been a beautiful change. So since I've gotten myself together,
Yep.
he's been able to relax a little bit more, and I've actually been able to listen to a lot of the things he's been trying to tell me. We disagree about 99% of the things that we talk about, and it's great. It gets my brain firing about debate. I have to defend the ideas that I have. Sometimes I don't have great ideas. It happens, and he's actually taken a much bigger role here, while also passing the responsibility fully to me.
Yeah.
So he will just give me advice at this point and just let me make the mistake. But
And he's gotta-
and then make you wear it.
it's a
And then
very it's a really funny thing if you know me and my dad. Yeah.
And he's got a spot to read his newspaper every morning.
Yes.
He's basically a professional newspaper reader outside of Amici.
This is like the spot to read a newspaper.
Yes.
This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anybody who wants to come by and just pick his brain, he's a lot more friendly than he looks.
I disagree.
Oh man. No, I love that, and that's so cool. And I wish that we had a place like this more near me. I got like a couple like frozen yogurt places, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
I just go for like the candy, and I dump a bunch of candy in a bowl.
Yeah.
But awesome. So let's take our second break of this episode. We're gonna get into the community stuff here in our third segment. So this is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. Got Jules Pecora and Joe Castore.
You got it.
Got
like
it.
keep flashing down. Be like, oh shit, what's his last?
That's all right.
It's so bad. I'm a pro.
It
Though.
sounds like joke a story.
Yeah.
Joke a story.
Yeah, we're telling his story. Yeah, right.
Which is not a joke.
No, not a joke.
No.
So we're at Amici Gelato
Definitely not anymore.
in Asbury Park, New Jersey. We'll be right back.
The Mayo Performing Arts Center is the heart of arts and entertainment in Morristown, New Jersey. MPAC presents over 200 events annually and is home to an innovative children's arts education program. To see MPAC's upcoming schedule of world-class concerts, stand-up comedy, family shows, and more, head to mayoarts.org or just click the link in our show notes.
Hey everyone, Mike Ham here. I hope you're enjoying this episode with Joe Castore of Amici Gelato and Caffe in Asbury Park, New Jersey. To learn more about the show myself or listen to all of our other great episodes, make sure you head to greetingsfromthegardenstate.com. And if you like what you hear, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a review on your favorite listening platform. Now let's get back to the show.
So we're back for segment 3 of this episode of Greetings from the Garden State. I'm Mike Ham with Jules Pecora, Joe Castore. We're here at Amici Gelato Caffe in Asbury Park, New Jersey. So first segment, we learned all about you, your story, which was tremendous. Second segment, we learned all about Amici, kind of like what goes on here, what goes into the process of making everything, and like the heavy hitters of what actually people like when they come down here. So I guess, and there goes the camera. So I guess what we do in our last segment, and we kind of talked about this before, is we talk about the community side. So we touch on it a little bit maybe at the beginning. Certain communities that have helped support you over the course of your life and your career and all that kind of stuff. But would love to take it further, if there are other communities that you're involved in and stuff like that, or even just to try to like nail down and kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Yes.
Go back over what we talked about in the first segment.
Yeah, so I have a big relationship with the addicts in this community. Asbury Park is a party town, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun to have here. But, we're human. We make mistakes.
Right.
So it's nice to have a little bit of a safety net. There's no alcohol in the store, and it's nice coffee and a calm atmosphere. So, if you come into the store 9 out of 10 times, there'll be somebody in the store that's like almost ready to talk to you about anything.
Right.
And it's really nice because there's a culture that is coming on here. This is like a home for a lot of people who might have anxiety going outside. They might have trouble going to the store. They might, it's there's a lot of things that people deal with on a day-to-day basis, and
Right.
it's just really nice to have a spot in town that you feel welcomed at.
Yeah.
And I hire a lot of people in that community, very proudly too.
Do you advertise that? Like, how
No.
do people know who may be in recovery that, like, this is a place that will welcome them with open arms for employment?
So I leave that up to us. I don't really advertise it.
Okay.
I'm kind of boots on the ground about that. I'm in the meeting rooms myself once in a while, as much as I can get there. And a lot of word of mouth. My friends struggling here and could use some time. It's not even about the money. They just need to keep their hands busy, something to feel proud of themselves.
Yeah.
And
Like it did for you.
like it did for me.
Yeah.
Very, very important to me.
Right.
Yeah, taking pride in something, selling a product that you're proud of, that somebody's excited to get. Asking about somebody's day. If you come into the store and get a cup of coffee, we're gonna bother you about how you're feeling today. And yeah, it's true. Everybody does care.
Yeah.
And it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels really good to come to work. I'm really proud of the community and the culture that's really developing here. I'm trying to. I felt like for a long time that I was just like taking from this world, and it's time to give back as much as I can.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and like it's just so cool to see, like, now what the community, like we were talking about in the first segment, like what the community did for you,
Yeah.
and the different ways that they supported you, and now you have an opportunity to use similar things that helped you,
Yeah.
to help other people.
I mean, get this. I made a cake, and we raffled it off with the intentions of donating all of the money to a Jewish food pantry in the area.
Yeah.
We raised over $3,000.
Wow.
Yeah, for that cake that we made together for a friend of mine, Jacob's little bar mitzvah. I was able to show this young kid how much power you could have in this world just by doing something you're proud of. And I try and do a lot, as much charity as we can, but don't get it. This is a for-profit business. I'm doing this to create. I'm doing this to create a future for myself, and in the process, I'd love to help out as much as I can.
Right. No, I
Yeah.
love that.
And for your birthday, you did something too, right? For raising money?
Yeah, I mean, I asked everybody to wish me a happy birthday by donating to my the Recover Revolution New Jersey Venmo account, and
Which
just
is
write.
what? What's Recover Revolution?
So they're a nonprofit organization. All the guys that are involved in it, and girls now, they supported me, and I support them very heavily. And they have recovery houses and a lot of, I forget the word when you transition,
Halfway?
Yeah.
Is that, I don't know if that's
Yeah,
the word.
that's what it is too. That's what a lot of people know.
Yeah.
Transition to jobs and
Gotcha.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's great. And then, so now I would imagine, like we talked about a little bit before, like you said, you still go to meetings, and
Yeah.
I'm sure part of that is, like you said, to make sure that people know that you're there for them.
Yes.
Like, you said when you first went, there was people there for you. And so I would imagine, like, you're still, like, that's still part of your whole process.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a beautiful thing showing up for somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Watching people grow. It's a really beautiful thing to be able to say, hey, I've been where you've been, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Just keep doing the right thing, and it'll
Right.
happen, and it does. And just, it's like it could spread like wildfire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so, like, what I also, this would be, like, probably one of our last questions, unless you have more. But, like, when people come in here, and, like, we were talking about how, like, you had embarrassing moments or terrible moments in this store, but now having people come in and seeing kind of where you're at now, and, like, the I'm sure there must be like a lot of like, holy shit, like this is so great, like I'm so happy, and like I'm sure that that's a big thing too, because you know their support helped you get to kind of like where you are.
Yes.
And I'm sure that makes them feel good too.
Yeah. I mean, I had a customer who bought a gift card during the pandemic early on.
Yeah.
You know, people were buying big gift cards from their favorite business owners to kind of give them a little, you know,
Cash flow.
cash flow, hope. It was more of hope for the future.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
the $50 versus the sign of like, hey, I want you to continue doing what you're doing. And it meant a lot because you accept that payment. You're like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm not sure if we're going to stay open. Like, the world is crazy. Nobody knows what's going to go on. And that was really, it was more than one person, too.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Do you have anything else?
No, I would just say that I think you are someone, and Amici is a place that like gives back to the community and people without it being in a forced way, which is so refreshing that it naturally happens, whether it's on a daily basis or, you know, a little less frequent than that. It's awesome to be a neighbor on this block of you guys and just seeing how this business touches people beyond just gelato.
Yeah.
Because gelato makes people happy, but you make people happy in a lot of different ways.
Thank you. Yeah, this place means a lot to me, and you know, it definitely helped turn me into the person I am today. And I definitely see tremendous amounts of growth for the future.
Yeah.
I still have this student mentality where I feel like there's just so much to learn, continue learning, and it's just like baffling the idea of teaching anybody anything.
Right.
And it was really cool because I was actually talking to my dad one night about how I feel like this is still an amateur program and it doesn't feel professional. And the next morning we woke up and we were rated number 2 on Amici.
I don't have any cash on me, man. I'm sorry.
Sorry, man. Sorry, I can't do it, brother. What was I saying?
About giving back to the community.
So bad.
So funny.
That's gonna get.
We gotta edit that part out.
Oh man, YouTube blooper section. They'll love that. Giving back to the community. No, get away. I lost my. What was I saying?
That's okay. Honestly, I have no idea. Okay, so we'll re-pick it up at like a certain point. So I wanted to ask. Shit, I don't even remember. Okay, let's just do we'll do the closeout stuff. So we're gonna hit like what we do, like address and social media and all that kind of
Sure.
stuff. Okay, so we're back. So want to make sure that everyone knows kind of like, the other was what I was gonna say. The fact that this is such a small community too, I think also plays a big part into it. Because if it was like a gigantic city, you know, like obviously there's communities that are built in, but you see the same people a lot, especially the people that live here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously like having that, like if you're not a good person, I feel like a lot of people would know. But if you are a good person, then people would know. You know what I mean? So like I think that what Jules was saying before we got cut off was, you know, the fact that she comes by here all the time and loves that this is part of her little community that she has over here is important because she's a part of it and a part of what you guys do here. So, okay, so if people are interested in like learning more about Amici, or they want, when they're down in Asbury Park the next time, they want to come check you guys out.
Or want a cake for their birthday.
Or want a cake for their birthday. Like, what are some places they can go to do that?
Instagram, Facebook. I run all the accounts.
Okay.
What
are we on Instagram?
Amici AP.
Okay.
And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Joe just puts his face on there sometimes.
I like to have fun with this. Sometimes the social media can feel like it's homework, and you have to keep posting and staying.
Such
you know.
a pain in the ass.
Yeah. So I like to have
It's
some
like a
fun.
full-time job, right?
It
on a
is.
social media account. And you already
100%.
have a full-time job.
I already do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, same. So, okay, so social media, and then you said you were going to say you can call the shop.
Yeah, you could call the shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Website?
Old
Is there
school,
a
make a
website?
phone call.
Website, I'm actually, the website's down. I gotta redo it.
Okay.
Yeah. There's, you know, as I'm growing, the store's growing, things are changing. We gotta
Yep.
update a lot of things.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll make sure that I put the social handles and stuff like that in the show notes. I'll put the number. For
We
the
could leave
shop
my
in case-
email address too if
Yeah,
they want to
email
reach
address.
out directly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
put that in there. you can send that to me, and then I'll make sure I get in there when we do the show notes. But this was so great. I really appreciate it. It was kind of like a last-minute thing. Like I texted you last night, and here we are. I texted you on your birthday, so my bad.
It's okay.
Yeah, but no, this was fantastic. Thank you for setting this up.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Felt good to be back.
Yeah, right. Back on the mic.
Yeah,
So
thank you for having me.
of course, thank you both for having me to your town first of all, and then for you having me or coming on the show. There we go.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's really
that
cool.
means a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and you need that.
Yeah.
You need that validation.
You do.
sometimes.
No, I mean, it's you put in all this work, and sometimes you don't see the big picture, but it's
Yeah.
No, Mike hustles.
Yeah, it's
very
like you're shouting
impressive.
into a vacuum sometimes, but you know, but we're hustling. That's right. I got a good VP of business development, and once she figures out what she actually does here, and I figure out what she actually does here, we'll be crushing it. So, guys, again, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
See you for my 3 p.m. coffee.
yeah. Thank you, everybody.
I think we're already at 3 p.m. I think
Whatever.
we already had it.
5
Anyway,
p.m.
So, okay, so just to recap, so this has been the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We had Jules Pepora and Joe Castore of Amici Gelato Caffe in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Thank you for listening to this episode, and we will catch you next time.